It's your boy here. Welcome to the first episode of Cooking with Alex, with me, Alex. And today we're going to be making latkes. You only need really 5 ingredients. These are russet potatoes, and you want 4 large ones. Now I have 5 here because I have these 2 medium-sized ones. And you're going to be wanting 1 small onion. It doesn't matter what color it is. If you have these big French onions, you can make do with half of them. 3 eggs, panko breadcrumbs, which come in a package like this. And you also want oil, salt and pepper to taste, and some tools we're going to need. We're going to need just a kitchen washcloth. This is pretty thin, and it's also lint-free. You also need a grater with big holes. Peel the potatoes yourself. So yeah, just start on one side. Just peel this. Also, if you see one of these blemishes right here, take a paring knife and just kind of cut it out slowly. Of course, always rotate the potato instead of your knife because you don't want it pointing towards you ever. The footage of the grating got corrupted, but basically what you want to do is you want to take your grater with large holes and grate your potatoes and your onion. Now, after a while, your potatoes may become red, and that's perfectly normal. That's the potatoes oxidizing. That's not going to affect the flavor or the color, the end result of it. So yeah, just don't worry about that. Alright, well now you've seen that I've grated up all of the potatoes and the onions. The next step that we want to do is we're going to want to extract the water. So what you want to do is you want to take your cloth and wrap it around the potato and just wring it out like you would wring a wet t-shirt or something like that. And also save that water in another bowl and let it sit for 5 minutes after you've done wringing out all the water. So the goal of this is to settle out the starch, which can be used as a binding agent in our latkes to make them hold together better than if we used just eggs without any starch. Once you've let your potato water over here sit for 5 minutes, you just kind of want to dump off the water into another bowl and just see if you get some of this. So this is kind of like the stuff that you want. This stuff at the bottom is starch. So yeah, you just want to see just this kind of solid gunky stuff at the bottom. In a separate bowl, you want to combine 3 eggs. And what we want to do is we just want to take the starch off here, just scoop that into the eggs. Now I'm just going to whisk this together. So then we're just going to bring up our potato mix. I'm just going to move it into the center a bit so that I have an easier time covering with the egg, right? So we're just going to move this into the center. We're just going to pour all this in. And so yeah, just pour it in, simple as that. You're also going to take your 1 cup of breadcrumbs. So as you can see, it's 1 cup of breadcrumbs. Pour that in as well. And you can use your hands. You can use this whatever you want. I'd say it's easier using my hands. Just smush that around. And try to coat and mix all of those ingredients thoroughly. If you see that your potato isn't holding its shape, like if you squeeze it and it's just falling apart, then you might need to add 1 more egg. What you want to do is you kind of want to separate this massive lump into 4 balls. So I'm just going to separate it into halves first, and I'm going to separate it into fourths. So like that, and over here, like that, right? And now we're actually good for the frying step. You're going to need your oil, and you're also going to want to prepare a wire rack on top of a plate, or like a baking pan or anything like that, just to cool off your potatoes and also to let some of the oil just get out of there. So yeah, just set this off to the side. You're also going to want to have a spatula, and I have a cast iron cooking pan. You guys can just use any surface that you want. You just want to take your potatoes, and before you put them in, you just want to form like a nice little ball with them by just using your hands. Just shape them into like a ball like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. Oil. enough to cover the surface of the skillet, and a bit more. So yeah, this much oil is, it could use a bit more. Um, yeah, just saying, it could use a bit more. I'm just gonna add that, and that should be good. And for now, we're gonna turn the heat on high and wait for the oil to cook. All right, so it's not gonna take long, but once you can hear the oil start to crackle a bit, you can also just put your hand over the pan and just feel the oils, see if it's hot enough. I would suggest to be careful with that. You don't want to touch the oil, otherwise you're going to have a burn on your hand, which is not fun. Feel that it's hot enough. Now we're just going to turn the heat down to about medium-ish. And we're going to take our first ball of potato mass, and we're just going to plop it down in the middle. And what you want to do is you want to take the back of your spatula, and you just want to smoosh it down. It might stick. If it does, just kind of like get some oil on the bottom of the spatula, and then crush it down to a pretty thin consistency. Now, it might come apart like it is right now. That's fine. It's really not too big of a concern, but you just want to get it down to thin, pretty thin. I'd say about 1/4 of an inch. But yeah, so the advantages with doing this is you get like kind of like crispy sides because they're all jagged. So yeah, the oil can really get in there and start frying. So you want to do each side for about 3 to 4 minutes. And then, so after 3 to 4 minutes, just flip, and then 3 to 4 minutes again. And you want to be on medium heat. So yeah, just, that's it for basically cooking. It's not that hard. So the oil was being a bit aggressive. It was popping a lot. So I just turned the heat down to medium lowish, about halfway between medium and low. But yeah, this side is fully brown. This is my first latke of the day. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. You also might want to replenish the oil in between cookings if it's getting a bit low. So yeah, that is something that you might want to consider doing. That's it. Now you guys know how to make latkes. I'll see you in 2 to 3 weeks. But the video's over now. Goodbye.